Bel-Air, episode 4, Canvassing. Before we get started, it has come to my attention, thanks to the comments on the last couple of videos, that your theory may not work because where is Hillary during
Where's Hillary and
all?
all this? Yeah, I know. And then also this episode kind of like a lot of the pieces that I thought were gonna be in place anyway. So
very literally.
There goes my number one theory maker hat that I was wearing. You know, we can just go ahead and take that shit off. But yeah, man. So now I'm legitimately interested to see what's going on here because it's this kind of not the whole episode, but towards the end, it kind of took a hard turn left that I did not expect.
So the opening scene, we see Carlton beating Pops at a game of chess. And then afterwards, he decides to put the moves on Pops again by trying to make a deal so that he can go to a racing event. Black men playing chess. Very nice scene. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Will is hanging out with Lisa, and because they're officially friends, she decides to let him know that her mother passed, but not before we see somebody scoping them out. Aunt Viv is doing Ashley's hair, and during this, we see Ashley in a group text with the gamer crew. It seems that she's a little upset that she has to be very Obama-ish. She doesn't get to celebrate her individuality.
What do you mean by Obama-ish? What do you mean?
She has to be, political. She has to be.
Oh, because of her dad and stuff like that. Okay, I got you. A lot of interesting stuff going on with Ashley this episode. You know, some stuff we'll explore a little later on, but I'll save it. I'm gonna save it for later on. We'll save it.
Okay. By how you're saying that, I think we stumbled upon the same thing, but we'll get to that later. After Will finds out that Easy the Block Captain knows where he is, he goes looking for 22 Phil, but he ends up finding Jeffrey. Turns out Jeffrey knows every fucking thing about Easy the Block Captain. It would seem that Jeffrey's ready to go to war. He about to call up some shotas from Jamaica.
Where in the fuck did Philip find this Jeffrey? Where the fuck did he find this nigga? What the hell has Phil got going on that he need a cleanup man like this?
Bro,
like a make a phone call, put 10 stacks on it, and forget about it type of guy. You know what I mean? Like, why? What the hell is going on? That's a lot more than just, I'm a politician and sometimes, you get mixed up in the stuff and you wanted to handle it quietly. No, nigga, he got hitters. He got shooters.
He got shotas.
What the hell does Uncle Phil need shooters for?
I don't know, bro. I don't know what
the hell is going on. Yeah,
homeboy is a whole hitman / CIA all in one. Like, I don't know what's going on. We'll see, though. Hillary is looking for a crib and a job. Unfortunately, with the social media influencer houses, she's going to get that all in one. Hillary knows her numbers. Hillary knows her fucking numbers, which I thought was really dope because as an influencer and a content creator, you should probably know your worth and know your numbers. So,
sure.
Message. However, it doesn't seem that she's getting too far because of her mostly Black following, which is really weird. Again, with this whole social media thing, I feel like she can do all of this on her own. She doesn't really need all of these handouts from other platforms.
It depends on what it is she's trying to do. Like, I mean, brand building is relationship building mostly. So, to a certain degree, if she wants to grow, she needs those kind of relationships. I kind of cringe at the whole idea of the social media house. It's very real worldy, and who has ever really gotten anything material out of real world besides the fucking $2,500 checks that they get every episode? You know what I mean? Like, what have you really gotten out of that? Out of playing in Big Brother or being on fucking Bachelor?
Or even worse, all these new social media houses that they've got, like the Hype House and all that shit.
Yeah, man. I guess there is a certain level of like community building around it. Like there's a bunch of Black skit actors in Atlanta that all work together, and in Cali. Fenarios, Big Ja, Jahan Jones, El Haj TV. It's a lot of guys, and women, that do those skits and YouTube stuff like that. And then I've seen a lot of them, Ryan Davis. I've seen a lot of them pop up on stuff. I've seen them pop up on Insecure, Black Lady Sketch Show. So like there's a I guess a method to the madness. I don't really understand where the connection is, but there is some sort of well, I mean, it's networking, it's relationship building. And so you meet them, they introduce you to certain people, and you know, sometimes stuff spurs. So I think the community part of it is smart. Do you need to be in a reality TV show house to do that? I don't know. But there is something symbiotic about the linking of resources, you know, artists getting together and just kind of collabing.
Aunt Viv is channeling her inner auntie Maxine.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Okay.
Reclaiming my time.
And getting back to the canvas, hence the episode title. Viv's soror seems to have a plug on an opportunity for her, and it seems pretty promising. Any thoughts on Aunt Viv becoming a huge megastar artist?
I think that's good for her. You know, I think as we've seen from dark skin Aunt Viv, she went through her period of not having her self-identity, you know, feeling kind of drowned out by the family and being a mom and you know, that kind of thing. So it is good to see her. I like the way that they explore, you know, different types of like stresses and emotions and things like that in this show, because it's not very typical. Like this type of stuff you'll see, oh well, the wife is unsatisfied, so now she out here cheating, and then the husband found out, so now he out here cheating, and he come home and now he probably got to beat her because they both cheating and he mad and she ain't listening, and all of this is because she feels unfulfilled and feel like she gave her life up, and you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't have to be all of the, you know, the extra drama on top of what is very real, like what people are experiencing on a everyday basis. I think it's positive that they show that there can be positive outcomes in the midst of that. She didn't lie to him. She didn't, you know, go off and do something behind his back. She didn't, you know, do something rash and start a new business move. No, she just got back on her horse. You know what I mean? She got motivated. She got tired of, you know, people asking her why you don't paint anymore, and she got back to it. And she was, you know, at a certain point in the episode, she actually talks that out with Phil. So a very sparse representation of a healthy relationship.
Now they're trying to get voters for his election, for 22 Phil's election. So everybody's got their job. Specifically, Will and Carlton are supposed to go door to door. Aunt Viv and 22 Phil are supposed to be meeting with some of the community leaders, and Hillary and Ashley are going out and also providing materials. Jeffrey is just going to be around. A little weird. Who knows what Jeffrey?
Whatever the hell that means, in this
situation. Right. And then that's when 22 Phil and Aunt Viv decide to have a conversation about some of the information that he's received from polling, which, to summarize, basically she's a little too sarcastic, which sounds like
and arrogant.
You're being a little too much like a Black woman. Tone that down. That's how it came across to me.
I'll take the Black off of it, and I'll put, because I guess I can see where any sort of strength coming from a female. Well, okay, I guess in that context, yeah, especially from a Black woman, is deemed as being too much. Right now, where the fair part of that comes into is later on, where we see, you know, she kind of puts her foot in her mouth with Hillary. But I think from the polling aspect, it's an optics thing, man. When the woman talks too much or she's too assertive, people naturally shy away from that. You know, we still live in a patriarchal society, so it's like certain things, certain triggers are going to be there until, you know, they're addressed in a more honest way. But I don't think that Phil is necessarily trying to tell her anything about herself. I just think at that point, at least, he was thinking very analytically, like, hey, look, this is what the numbers say, so maybe, you know, you just kind of hold back a sentence or two, please.
That's what it felt like, but it was just like you're reading a little too much into the numbers at the, you know, sacrificing your own relationship with your own wife.
And see, I don't think that's how far he went. Like, even with them having the conversation when she was, you know, she's telling him, hey, look, you're playing it too safe with your campaign. You know, people want to hear what you're going to do for them, especially Black. Man, I love that conversation. Black people want to hear what you're going to do for them, or you ain't got to worry about, if you don't take care of that, you don't got to worry about what the hell the damn police union going to think about you. Somebody need to send a clip of this to goddamn Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Jim Clyburn, Joyce Beatty, Hakeem Jeffries. All of them y'all need to watch that. Y'all need to watch that. Hopefully you get a copy of it before these midterms come up. Because boy, you want to see a red summer or red fall. It seems as though Phil is very willing to take advice from her. I don't think he's so prideful, or at least he's not that way right now. He's not so prideful that he can't take criticism, especially if it makes sense to him. Especially if it's reasonable and it's logical, and then I think that's what she provides. So I think retroactively, the same way she's able to tell him this is what you're doing wrong, he can say that to her, or at least that's the way it should be.
Speaking to Black people and Black voters specifically, Will and Carlton go door to door, and despite seeing mostly Black people, it seems that they're completely striking out.
That's because they letting Carlton talk.
Well, after giving Carlton a pep talk about literally speaking with his people as opposed to speaking down to his people, Carlton decides to concede and let Will take a go at things. Any thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, so they do, the writers do a good job of putting in the little meta takes in there every now and again, you know. Here's Carlton, you know, it's actually a good thing that my dad's rich, you know, because he can't be bought off by special interests. And I'm sure in his mind that you know, that's right, that's correct. You know what I'm saying? It certainly makes sense in the abstract. The problem with that is that in the real world, it's not so much of the money at that point. If you're already somebody of great wealth, it's the status, the connections. It's what people will be able to do and say about you on the other end of you, you know what I'm saying, making a certain decision or voting a certain way or you know, taking a certain stance. So yes and no, I guess, you know, is it fair to disqualify him simply because he's rich? No, because I don't care what social initiative, what piece of legislation you're going for, what cause you fight for. None of those really happen for free. The changes that you want to come about are going to take money. I don't talk about money as if simply owning it is the problem. It's the marginalization of people for the sake of enriching yourself. That's a problem. And that's something that we can look at on an individual basis. Every single person who's ever, you know, made $1 million didn't personally afflict you. I think that kind of sometimes gets lost in the wash when we talk about wealth inequality and things, you know, that needs to change in society. But it's not to absolve an individual, but at the very least to judge them on a case-per-case basis. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all contribute to a capitalistic society. All of us, even the poor, right? Yep. Even by nature of you going to work every day, producing these products for people to go out there and buy, you are participating in the same capitalistic structure. It's virtually impossible to live here in the United States and not partake. So from that standpoint, we all guilty. But there's a level of responsibility for the people that are already at the top to marginalize harm, at least in my opinion. And if you don't feel like you need to do that, it's on you. But don't pretend to be, you know, a great person because of it.
Arguably, you're doing more harm by pretending than just staying out of the whole thing.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you what to do with your money. And I don't want to limit anybody's pursuit of money either. But there's fair is fair. And if that means that you can't be a trillionaire because I'm no longer allowing you to oppress people or to pay people unfair wages or to have damn near criminal employment practices, then no, that is something that should be stomped out, because it should never be a thing to where we have acceptable losses for people to be wealthy. I don't know how we got there, but that's what that's the type of conversation that can be sparked from a conversation like that. And they do a good job of just kind of putting it in there every now and again, throwing you little tidbits,
Quite a bit, yeah, and they do it in realistic conversations. Like it's not something that they're kind of preaching. You know what I mean? They're doing it in conversations that we would realistically have. So it just kind of works a little bit better that way. So Hillary and Ashley walk into a record store, which happens to be owned by Jazz. Hillary seems very impressed by the fact that Jazz owns his own record store and is doing it big. Which kind of leads to Jazz getting the chance to spit a little game a little bit, which never would have happened in the original show.
I was about to say, she got Jazz before Trevor? Before Trevor?
Yeah. Yep.
Trevor died proposing to Hillary, so y'all gonna have to bring in Trevor at some point. That's an OG.
I don't know, bruh. They about to let Jazz bag?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
That didn't happen in the original. In fact, quite the opposite.
It kind of, I think at one point she kind of came around after Trevor died.
Okay, in one episode. It never would have turned into.
So what really got to happen is she got to get a boyfriend and he has to die tragically, and then Jazz is gonna get in there.
If they give us a Trevor who dies bungee diving, that would be nuts. That would be absolutely nuts.
It was so random. Like the actor must not have been able to come back for the next season or some shit like that. He was like, just kill me in the most ridiculous way you can. Like, give me the most ridiculous death ever.
To be fair, Trevor was pretty ridiculous as a character. So, I mean,
he was like, I don't even know. He was like a Joseph A. Bank model.
Yep. The guy following Will turns out to be security. Rashad has apparently been paid by the Banks $10,000, but he knows that 22 Phil has more. Jeffrey doesn't seem intent on paying. That whole scene was like, I had to watch that a couple times.
Like, hold on, bro. What are we talking about here? What you about to do? What you mean you don't intend on playing? What you mean you don't intend on paying, brother? How you gonna get away? What's gonna happen? What you gonna do? What's about to happen? I thought this was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It wasn't this many people getting smoked in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as I remember.
Not at all, really. Meanwhile, Jeffrey must got the blicky, apparently.
So, okay. So, theory be gone. That's clearly not Will's dad. But first of all, with him paying the 10 stacks and then finding out where he was staying, finding out he was in Bel-Air, that's probably why he didn't stop. He like, all right, I got this $10,000. And then boom, here come bro. And he like, damn, I know where Will at. He like, oh, he in the hills. Well, that little ass 10 stacks ain't shit. He got that, in his money clip, in his man purse that he takes with him to Calabasas and Napa and all the other great California places. But he got more than that. So let's keep that up, or I'm gonna tell him I'm gonna make a visit. So that's probably the motivation driving him to keep coming after Will, because he's a cash cow now. But I'm still trying to figure out what the hell he got going on, because you just don't keep one of them guys around for nothing. What is Uncle Phil into? It really wasn't all that much of a, hey, show pre-defund the police side perspective and, against defund. It was like, no, like, defund the police. It has to happen. And I don't care if I ruffle feathers with the LAPD or, the governor's office. It's, like you said, it's crucial. I was like, oh, let me look up this showrunner. You see who this showrunner is, man. Because you's a bad boy. You's a bad boy. And the fact that they didn't censor it. It's not, defund the police is not a popular sentiment even amongst Hollywood. When they hear defund the police, they think of the separation between them and the rest of the working and poor in California. They think about the only thing keeping them safe and keeping them able to live their docile lives in their castles up in the hills. That's what they think of. So no, defund the police is not a popular sentiment amongst Hollywood starlets. I would venture it's not a popular sentiment among producers, directors, anybody with large amounts of wealth. Because the idea is that they protect us. We're not the ones getting shot in the streets. So keep as many police up as you can. So to hear that, come out that unapologetically pro stance on defund the police, man, whoa.
It really does something to the sentiment, considering the fact that they're in LA. And I know those people have been feeling some kind of way about the police force in LA for decades. So I just thought that was kind of cool. It made it a little bit even more impactful because those people are definitely feeling it and definitely want some sort of change in their police force.
For sure.
So I thought that was, like you said, I thought that was a really good scene. Since we're at the roller rink now, Ashley's friends pull up on her thanks to Jeffrey's help. And Lucia, one of her friends who was in the group chat that she asked about earlier, shows up, and Ashley's a little bit excited. Do you think Ashley's into girls?
Yes,
absolutely. Do you think she's that? Okay, all right. So
also,
we got the same
she only went to the house to see Lucia, and then before she left Hillary, she left the record shop. She put on lip gloss because she thought she was going to see Lucia. I'm going to ask the same question that we asked about Drew in Power. I don't know if we've put it out by the time we put out this episode, but it'll connect. And I have to ask this question of people in our audience because again, I'm not, neither one of us are part of that community. I guess gay representation in television and film, from what I can remember growing up, it was very, very tropish. A lot of caricatures of what gay people are, the loud, flamboyant males, the butchy biker jackets, spiked hair, lesbian women. Like that's what they gave you in lines of gay representation, right? So now we finally gotten to a point where, at least visually, it is caught up to the times, right? We're not doing the tropey stuff to represent that community anymore. I guess now my question is, what is really representation, right? Like, so you look at Ashley as a character, and being that she was a popular character, it's like some people identify with Ashley for a number of reasons through the sitcom. And so now what you've done is you've taken the group of people that you were representing through Ashley's story and her character. You've taken a whole nother group of people who have a totally different experience, right? With whatever you may go through coming up with identifying as gay or lesbian, anything like that. And now instead of having that character and this character, right, represented equally, having a new person, a new face, a new Black actor elevated into that role to represent that community to which they may be of, that would probably be ideal. Isn't that better than gnashing that character all up into one? Especially if the former character is the one that's already been established, right? Like the thing to remember with Fresh Prince is that these are established characters. They have a quote unquote lore. They have an entire a syndicated sitcom that this show was based off of. So there is a level of a bit of recognition that goes along with all these characters. I wonder if it's not necessarily doing harm, but if it's doing a disservice by trying to mash characters up like that. Like let me I guess give you an example with Fastos in the Eternals. I felt like, number one, he's an Eternal. He's not even really human. So like, I guess the concept of sexuality is a bit ambiguous with their kind in general. I'm reading Karen Gillan's Eternals right now, and that's just not a staple of that character. And then you go and watch the movie, and it's half his identity throughout the movie. It's his intelligence and his relationship, his love for his mate. So it's like, and that's not bad, right? But it's just like what we're talking about when we talk about representation, right? We don't want subtraction. We don't want, division. I don't want you to take a character who has already had an established identity and change that to try and represent people. That character has a role to play already. He's already serving a purpose along the lines of representation for a group of people. Why change that for that group to serve another? If you truly want to serve that group, put a character in there. Make a character that's Black. Make a character that is a woman. Make a character that is a doctor. Make a character that is a lawyer. I just don't think it's necessary to do this mashup thing, because you know what you end up doing? You deny somebody else a role. You leave somebody out. Somebody who may do a better job at representing that, who's not playing this random amalgamation of different characteristics so that you can check off all your boxes. That it's a little lazy to me, and I don't know how that comes off for anyone who's of that community. And I would be interested to hear. I would be interested to know.
The last scene we see is Aunt Viv is proud of Will because Will and Carlton have gone an entire episode without fighting with each other. And so with that, Will gets to bring Trey out to Bel-Air. So he goes on the phone, gives him the good news. Trey ends up reciprocating good news and letting him know that Rashad is dead. Thoughts on that?
Bruh. First of all, that's a part that we kind of skipped over just a little bit. Was you gonna keep Trey out there forever? Was the plan just to get him out there so that like you could trick your Aunt Viv into letting him move in or some shit? Like what was the ploy? He has a lot of half-baked plans. Will has a lot of half-baked schemes.
Especially as it concerns his friend Trey.
It's like, bam. So he gets here, right? And then your mom or your aunt 3 days later is like, okay, I'm buying your returning flight. And you like, oh, well, I was thinking, if we could, transfer Trey to Bel-Air Academy, you could pull some strings like you pulled for me, Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil gonna be like, this nigga out of here.
It's like when you ask your mom if your homeboy can stay over tonight, except in this case, it's cross country. Yeah. And you're talking about staying the entire school
Can he
year.
stay the rest of the semester? Can he stay the semester? But not, okay, so he finds out that he's dead, and I can see it in his face that immediately he goes back and thinks of that conversation that he had with Jeffrey. He putting two and two together just like I am. Like, man, yo, what the fuck is going on here? What is the issue?
Mind you, also, before they have that scene, they all get back into the house from the skating rink, and Jeffrey goes to 22 Phil and says, like, we need to talk. But then they never have that conversation, or so that we see. Probably, maybe it happens in the next episode. But they go and have a conversation with each other. So I'm assuming they might have something to do with each other. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Oh yeah, we'll see, man. I don't damn, they ripped my theory to shreds. They tore that mug apart. So I have no idea what's going on. We're back to just guessing with the crowds.
Any other thoughts about this episode, or maybe anything that might happen in the next episode?
Well, there's going to have to be an explanation because Will doesn't hold his tongue. He doesn't know how to shut the hell up. So he's going to ask somebody about Rashad. Does Trey still come out? I mean, you did the work. At least let my boy come out and kick it for a weekend or two.
Yeah.
Yep. How does the family react to Ashley's newfound sexuality? Oh, also, things are about to get very messy with Lisa. Her mom over there asking her to come and have girls' night with her and Hillary and Ashley is messy as hell. You know damn well that's your son's ex, and you know goddamn well that Will likes her, Otherwise, why would let fight between him and Carlton happen? Like, come on, man. Like, you just being messy now.
Well, I mean,
you being messy as hell.
To be fair, apparently Lisa's mom was Aunt Viv Soror, so
bruh. Go do that at her house. Ask her when you can pull up on her. Ask her when you can go pull. Ain't no way you walking Lisa back into that house and it's not gonna be a problem right now. Even though Carlton and Will on they new footing and they on good terms. Right now, that's still too tenuous. You cannot walk her back in there and it not be an issue.
We'll
messy.
See. They're very messy, but I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense a little bit. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Any other thoughts?
That's it. Give us your thoughts on episode 4 of Bel-Air, Canvassing. Give us your rating. Any thoughts you had on breakdown of the episode? Tell us in the comments below.
And make sure you check out the playlist. We have our preview in episodes 1 through 3 currently on there. Make sure you subscribe. We like to talk about Bel-Air every week. They release an episode, so make sure you stay tuned. Peace.